Welcome, welcome to this place. Here we search for truth and understanding. We celebrate life and we contemplate its mysteries. We share healing and wholeness. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, we welcome you to this congregation. We're so glad that you're with us this morning. Now I would invite Susan Stromgren to do our chalice lighting.
I actually have a little chalice here.
Wonderful.
Sort of, if you can see it. The reading is by Reverend Melanie Davis. If ever there were a time for a candle in the darkness, this would be it. Using a spark of hope, kindle the flame of love, ignite the light of peace, and feed the flame of justice.
Come, hoof and trunk and tail and horn, and paw and wing and claw. Come bird and reptile, mammal born, all full of nature's law. Bring bark and crow and ribbit too, and silent stare and hiss. Bring purr and trill and warble too, and voice no ear can miss. We gather here each life and all, to celebrate and to sing, to honor creatures large and small. 'Tis holiness we bring. Come, let us worship together.
We'll come together in truth. We'll come together in peace. We'll come together in joy and sharing. Come together in knowing and caring. Come together, oh, come together, oh, come together in love.
And now I would invite our annual fund drive committee to share a moment with the congregation.
Good morning, everybody. Whew, what a week it has been. But I just can't begin to tell you how proud I am of our congregation and really how everybody has rallied and continues to rally. Everybody I talk to on both the committee and just pledgees we're just demonstrating how resilient we really are. And so I have to just show you over my shoulder now our visual, which is reflecting our collective commitment to the church. And just give me 1 second. And if you can now see the banner above us. It really is true that love connects us, and we've had some incredible momentum going still. We have now raised $87,000 against our audacious goal of 130. And yet the way all of you are responding, I don't think our goal is audacious at all, although we are only 2/3 of the way there. And I'll go back to the visual to show you that we still have many people who have yet to pledge. We amazingly raised $10,000 thanks to a pledge we received yesterday. We've raised $10,000 for our annual matching pledge pool. And so as a reminder, for any dollar that you are able to increase over your pledge from last year, 100% of it is matched. So for example, if you are able somehow to pledge a $500 increase over last year, that means $1,000 to FPUU. If you're able to increase by 300, it means 600. Even a $25 increase is meaningful because it means $50 for the church. So again, thank you so much for digging deep. It's a reflection of what this church means to us, what this community means to us, and really how sacred a place, even this virtual space, means to us. I'm going to turn it over now to Mary Korthel, our co-chair, who has some words as well. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It is such a pleasure to see everybody again. I so look forward to this coming together, this service every week, because it has truly been, and I know for all of us, the anchor in the storm we're in the midst of. And I was thinking this week and sharing with Marshall that when I look at the times we're in, and I know this is universal, we look to what sustains us, what matters most. And the question I keep asking myself this week is, how do I tend and care for what matters most to me? What sustains me in the midst of something like this, which honestly, I'll say for myself, I often take for granted because when times are good, I don't think about it. But what I wanted to say to all of us is thank you for those of us who have pledged already. And for those of you who are sitting there thinking, okay, I really need to get my check in, or not my check, my pledge card in, I just want to say we collectively tend this garden called First Parish. And we are beyond delighted that Rev Dave is at the helm, and his weekly videos that I look forward to now to bring a smile to my heart about seeing the church. But I wanted to just reiterate the importance of tending and what that means. Some of us give of our time, some of us give of our time and financially, and the commitment we make is never as important as it seems this year. And through these virtual services for me has really underscored how fortunate we are to have this community, to meet each week, to meet on Wednesdays for those who want to do Vespers, for our kids to have the RE virtual experience of staying connected. And in these turbulent times, the innovative ways we're rising to what seems like a long road ahead. So I just wanted to thank everyone. And as you think about what you want to pledge, to think about tending this community that we have that's so precious to all of us.
Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Marshall. And thank you for all the amazing work that you all have been doing on the annual fund drive. It's amazing you're able to rise and do all this work while we're all cooped up in our own homes. So we really appreciate you helping us tend the storm so well. Now I would invite Eva to play our first hymn. Again, for those who may not have been here, you are more than welcome to sing along, but for technological reasons, we ask that you keep your microphone muted so we don't get the strange delay. Please join me in a spirit of prayer. I'd invite you to take a breath. Feel the air come in and out of your lungs. Take this time to center yourself. For this morning, we are so grateful. We're so grateful for being together. We're grateful for our loved ones near and far. We're grateful for long walks outside in the fresh spring air. We're grateful for all of our animal companions who help make us feel just maybe not quite so lonely. This morning, while we are well aware of the challenges ahead, we're grateful for being here right now in this sacred space among dear, dear friends. There's so much to be grateful for. Now let us hold all of this in our hearts as we enter into a time of silent meditation. Amen. Well, now we will begin our blessing of the animals ritual. You know, for so many of us this morning, we're surrounded by the animals that we love. We're filled with gratitude for the companionship and the unconditional love that they show us every day. We give thanks for the animals that help us, you know, for worker animals who guard us, who guide the blind, who help plow our fields, and those who provide us transportation. We're thankful for all of the pets who we've had and those who have died, for those that live on in our tender memories. For our lives have been fuller and our lives have been richer for the precious time spent with these departed pets. Others this morning may have brought a stuffed animal to share with us, or perhaps a picture. A stuffed animal that's soft and cuddly, and those who help to keep us safe when we sleep, those who provide comfort when we cry. We're thankful for these animals too. Now, if you do have a pet, or you have brought a stuffed animal this morning, or maybe a picture of a pet who has died, I would invite you to share this with the congregation. And in doing so, I would invite you to share their name and perhaps 3 words that you would use to best describe them. And now our morning offering will be given and gratefully received. And while you write your checks, Eva will be performing for us one of my favorite songs. All God's Critters Got a Place in the Choir. Some of you know this song. I would invite you while she's playing to have your children, your dogs, your cats, your animals sing along, maybe do a little dance, but please keep your microphone muted so we can hear what Eva is singing. Thank you so much.
And I think this is definitely a good sing-along song. So as I'm going to sing 3 verses, so if any folks want to join in for the chorus, please feel free. It goes, all God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. So you're welcome to join in. This was a song that I did not know, but thank you to Rev Dave for introducing it to me. It's all God's critters. Listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with the big to-do. The old cow just goes moo. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. The dogs and the cats, they take up the middle where the honeybee hums and the crickets fiddle. Donkey brays and the pony neighs, the old coyote howls. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. It's a simple song, a living song, everywhere with fox and ducks and the grizzly bear and the grumpy alligator and the ducks above, the sly raccoon and the turtle dove. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now.
Yay! Thank you, Eva. That was wonderful. Now I'd invite Jeanette Rule to offer our reading this morning.
This is a blessing by Maureen Kalaran. For the blessing of animal companions, we give thanks. For the beautiful ones whose fur is silky and whose tails are long, whose feathers are brilliant or whose voices are splendid, we give thanks. For the frantic ones, the runts and the hungry, who run for a food bowl or a pat as though this is life's last possible gift, we give thanks. For the obnoxious ones, the heads that butt against us as we're trying to sleep, the bodies that refuse to learn discretion as they make digestive gifts, we give thanks. For those who bark and purr and growl and mew, for all who squeak or squawk or snarl or hiss, we give thanks. For the animals unknown to us, those whose niche in life's web is fragile, whose lives are insecure, for all who care for them and wish them well, we give thanks. Blessed are the animals. Blessed are the creatures who live with us and need our care. Blessed are the mammals and the reptiles and the birds who teach us we are not alone. Blessed are all living things from whom we learn to love.
Well, unlike so many of you, my family does not own any pets. See, my wife and I, we have allergies or allergic to animal dander, so any furry, fuzzy animal will make us sick. Though, you know, many years ago when my eldest daughter was very young, we did in fact own a fish tank, but it didn't take too long for us to discover that we were maybe not the most responsible caretakers for these fish. And as their tank would regularly fill up with algae and turn green, many of them died, unfortunately. So we gave up. We cleaned out the fish tank and we gave it away. But I did have several pets as a child. I had cats and a dog and fish and even gerbils for a while. You may be wondering if I was still allergic back then. Well, absolutely, I was. But as you know, it was the 1970s and the 1980s, and people didn't really care about those things back then. And when I finally moved out of my house and went away to college, I was amazed that my asthma and my allergies, they seemed to magically clear up. But looking back, I do have so many fond memories of these beloved pets. Really, they're just glimpses from moments that I remember. I remember the joy I would feel as a small boy when I'd go to the fish store and I'd get to choose which fish we were going to bring home today. And I remember my favorite fish. I called him Speedy. He was bigger than most of the other fish. He was shiny. He was fast. Well, I was shocked and a little dismayed to learn that Speedy was actually nibbling on some of the other fish. And some of those nibbles were more than just a little nibble. I remember many toilet bowl fish funerals. I remember when our gerbils would run along all their little tubes and run top speed on that stationary wheel. I remember that they kept having more and more babies, which was amazing to me as a child, but maybe less amazing for my parents as they had to figure out what to do with all of these new gerbils. My sister and I would often take them out of their little gerbil gymnasium and we'd play with them in our hands. We'd let them run around on the carpet and inevitably they would get out, they would run away. I remember my dad yelling as he would try to grab them from behind the couch. I remember when my cat Janus would get freaked out and literally climb the walls of our living room. See, back then we had that oh so fashionable grass cloth wallpaper. Yeah, maybe some of you remember it from back in the day. Well, anytime that Janus heard a loud truck drive by or a boom of thunder or anything that startled him, he'd pounce on the wall, sink his claws into that grass cloth and literally run up the wall. And he would stay there, sometimes for hours, till we pulled him off. He'd be up there watching for trouble. Well, my other distinct memory of Janus was when I was maybe 10 years old. Came home from school and I heard that Janus had been hit by a car. Our neighbor had found him lying on the street. I remember seeing the box where his lifeless body was being held. I was asked if I wanted to pet him one last time. I don't think I could get up the courage to do it. Remember my mom and dad and sister and I carefully making a headstone for him and burying him in the backyard. It was the first time that I remember watching my dad cry. Sob, really. I was devastated. I never even got a chance to say goodbye to Janus. And after Janus died, I begged my parents for a dog. See, we had never had a dog before since we really didn't have the space. But now that we finally had a house with our own backyard, my parents, well, they caved. And I remember when we went to go pick out which dog we wanted to bring home. The cutest little puppy, this black and white English Springer Spaniel, it came right up to me and sat on my lap. That was the one that would become my Apollo, my first dog. Well, Apollo and I did everything together. I trained him to sit, to heel, to lay down, and he actually did those things occasionally. Now, I remember when I would fall asleep on the couch at night watching television, with Apollo sleeping right next to me. And eventually my mom or sister would tell me it was time to get up and go to bed. Well, Apollo would growl at them because I think he saw himself as my protector. And I remember long walks in the woods with Apollo as he would chase any squirrel or bird that he saw. I remember miserable walks in the rain as my parents reminded me that it was my turn to walk him. I remember all of the poop that I had to pick up. Well, when I finally went away to college, Apollo continued to live with my mom. And, while my sinuses and my breathing cleared up, I was sad to have to leave my trusted companion. I mean, sure, I would see him on holiday breaks, but it just wasn't the same. I remember that phone call when my mom said that Apollo was too old and sick, and it was time to finally put him to sleep. I remember seeing him that last time on the couch, barely able to lift his head. I rubbed behind his ears one last time and said goodbye. There's so many memories of these animals that touched my heart. As it is so for so many of our children, at a young age, these pets taught me how to care for someone other than myself, how to love, and how to be unconditionally loved. And then at the end, how to say goodbye. What a blessing it is to share our lives with these beloved animals, especially today, as we're told to stay home to stop the spread of COVID-19. For when we have such loving companions at our side, those companions staring up at us with those wide, loving eyes, purring or barking or neighing, we know that for that moment, we're not alone. We know that no matter how scary the world can sometimes seem, we'll be okay. We know that we're loved. So may it be. Amen. And now I would invite Eva to lead us in our final hymn, Love Will Guide Us.
Number 131, if you happen to have a hymnal at home too, but the lyrics are in your order of service. Love will guide us, peace will stride us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from free to weary. Love will guide us through the night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love.
And as we prepare to leave this sacred space, let us give thanks for all those animals who are the companions of our lives. And let our love for them translate into love and gratitude for all creatures everywhere. For we are all connected through that great interdependent web of all existence. And for that, we are so grateful. Amen.
Until we meet again, we share a sacred trust to live in light, to do the right and grow in loving prayer.
I will now extinguish our chalice, but may its light and warmth be with us until we meet again. Here ends our worship. Let our service begin.